Okay, so do we want to start by talking about how Haley is hooking up with my roommate, or do we want to start with the Kelsey Plum trade?
I vote the Haley update just because I want any update as possible.
I already know about the Kelsey
we don't
Plum
have
trade.
to. We can do Plum.
Well, Haley's turned red, so
I'm a beat. I'm so red.
Let me phrase it like this, Haley. When you hired me and you were hired you took the chance of hiring a man to produce Spinsters. You met me in a Zoom room not too dissimilar from the one we are in right now. Did you have any idea that in 2 to 3 years you would be swapping spit with my alternative folk singer roommate?
You're a very beautiful roommate. No, but I will say Spinsters is the podcast that keeps on giving.
Wow. Amen to that.
Spinsters is for lovers.
Yeah.
Spinsters is for lovers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Nothing But Respect, a basketball podcast. I was trying to combine the Spinsters podcast and the Nothing But Respect because a little housekeeping. Patrick Redford, our dear co-host, is dead. He was speaking out against the Lakers. He was last seen tweeting about how the Lakers should trade LeBron James, and then he was found dead. So we have a new set of co-hosts, Jordan Liggett. No, I'm kidding. But he was hit by a car while he was biking, and so he's on IR for a little while. So stepping in his place is the reunion many have asked for. Some deep state agents have tried to make not happen. The return of the Spinsters podcast. Haley O'Shaughnessy, Jordan Robinson, and Ciara Mountains of the beloved and now defunct Spinsters podcast. How are all of you guys? Haley, give me how you're doing first, since I see you the most.
I'm doing really well. You just saw me housing 12 vitamins, so I'm a lot healthier now. I'm doing great.
Jordan,
Wow.
your name changed since we recorded podcast. You got married.
I did get married. I am a Robinson now. Life's great. Life is going good. Just did my hair yesterday. Back to the fro. We're feeling good. Feeling great.
It looks good.
Ciara, yeah, the fro does look good.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm chilling.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I still get, it's actually funny. The only podcast I really listen to is my own, but Spotify will say, here's what's popular with listeners of your podcast, Spinsters.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, cool. Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything that's been updated in the past 2 years?
Yeah,
Or
no, exactly.
It's just Spinsters, dude. The only podcast.
I think, Ciara, what you said is actually well put, which is that there haven't been a lot of podcasts like Spinsters. It really did operate in this unique, it was formally unique in that there was like the whatever pre-recorded episodes, magazine style episodes. There's only a few pods that I can really think of that do stuff like that. But then it was also just sort of unique in the angles that we took. So I'm curious, Haley, first, what do you think was the most editorially difficult part about making Spinsters? Like why was this pod so difficult, and why aren't there more pods like this pod?
I wonder what you guys think now that it's over, but
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, after
it was
time.
sometimes I was confused about what it was because I wanted it to be like 3 different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the narrative part was always the most fun and rewarding, but that doesn't make any money. Like narrative podcasts famously make no money unless they're like Serial, and you can do merch off murdered people,
Right.
which we considered at one point.
We did try it.
Yeah, so I think that was it. I just wanted to do more of one thing. The other thing was also fun, but sometimes I didn't know how they tied together.
Yeah, well, you're thinking, Jordan. I think the thing that I keep coming back to that was so hard was talking about the minutia of regular season basketball twice a week. It just felt like that. There's that if you're trying to be a discerning pod, like if you're not trying to make slop, basically, at a certain point, what you arrive at is the conclusion that you should not say anything. Like you're like, oh, I don't have an opinion about the fucking Portland Trailblazers playing the Timberwolves on a Thursday. I don't care. My honest opinion is that I don't care. But because of the sort of structure that we were in, we had to release an episode, which I think made it, you had to really, I think, do a little bit of self-delusion around like what maybe like pretend to care, basically, which, whatever, that's what the money's for. But that's the thing I was bumping on.
There could have been more money.
Yeah, I think that was definitely hard. Just how long the NBA season is and how many games and how many teams. Like, it was a lot. And especially now just being fully into WNBA, I'm like, yes to 12 teams. Now we're just getting 13 teams, but it makes it so much easier to break down all of the games that happen in one night. It's half of the league that played.
Right.
So it felt like this huge behemoth of the NBA to have to tackle and to be able to do it in a unique way, which I think we did really well. And that's why there wasn't anything else like it, because we told different stories that we cared about. We cared about if they were Aquariuses or Tauruses, and that is why it stood out. But being able to actually break down the X's and O's of a Orlando Magic game on Thursday night, I didn't care that much. It was hard.
Yeah. It was hard. And it was not our choice. We didn't want to do it that much. It was.
Yeah, right. I mean, that there's this the other weird part, I think, in the business at large was that there was a lot of excitement and money coming into podcasting, but it was excitement and money coming into like video podcasting. It was sort of like what we want, where the sort of, and this isn't thinly veiled like, oh, our bosses wanted us to do this. This was across the industry. It's like there was lots of energy toward video podcasting, and so it was this. I felt for you sometimes, Haley, where I think there was like lots of energy around podcasting, and you were like, "Great, let's make a narrative podcast," and they were like, "No, not that podcasting. We want you in front of the camera talking about like if Scoot Henderson has swag or whatever the fuck, like
yeah. Well, that was tough too, because I distinctly didn't want to do it. I did not want anything to be on camera. I had just left this website that was run and founded by this like guy who was a basketball media god to a lot of people. So then that radiates attention to everyone who writes for the website. And I just had endured like years of people talking about what we all looked like as writers and like, right. And then online, and it just got stressful, and it was fun sometimes, but it was really stressful. And I didn't want to continue that with literally a stream of our faces for like an hour, two times a week. That just sounded hellish to me. So we pushed back but ultimately lost, because that is where the money is. And I just shouldn't have, I should have picked another avenue. But I mean, Jordan, you were great at it, and I don't think you minded it as much. But yeah, for me, I was just like, this is actually a nightmare. But I hadn't realized it was a nightmare until it was proposed.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. That it definitely does. What is the I see this a little bit with the good folks on the Meadowlark Reddit, that there are some and they sort of like live streams of these various, like, because I do a little work with the Dan Le Batard show now, and they're like live streaming the episodes, and there are all these people in the comment section commenting all the shit all the time, and some of it's just like haha, but some of it's like that person's stupid and should kill themselves or whatever,
it's a fine line.
Who are these people? Like they do you know anybody who engages in any live stream commenting in any facet of your life?
No. I will say that I'm going to start like this week actually doing something with Bleacher Report that will be live streaming. But that was one of my things because I did it before with FIBA, right? Like it was Twitch and there were people that would come back all the time and it was fun until it wasn't. And I was like, okay, I'm down to do this, but you have to be able to monitor the comments. I'm not going to pretend like I don't see these people wishing me dead or talking about my appearance while I'm trying to articulate a real basketball thought. And that's like where I have to put my foot down. But yeah, it's a weird world that we have to be in to be a part of all of this.
When those people, the people who come back, because I do try to be kind of optimistic and see the good in some of this stuff. And I am like, okay, maybe there's a digital community going on. Like maybe there is an element of like some type of human connection, in this. You get to go every week. There is a possible kind of back and forth interaction there. Is that true? Like, would you see some people who would come every week and be like, oh my God, I'm watching with Jordan and I get to chat with her about the game. And that's a unique sports experience. Was there some of that in the live streaming?
Yeah, for sure. It was, I would say more that than not. But the weirdos definitely ruin it for the rest of everybody else.
Right.
But I would say that's what made me say yes to this and what made me kept coming back to the Twitch, because there were people excited, waiting in the waiting room because they couldn't wait to hear specifically from me or my commentary on that was FIBA. So that made it fun because you have inside jokes now. You're like, remember 3 weeks ago when you said this didn't come true? That makes it fun. But yeah.
No, that's fucking cool. That is like, if there is it's just so weird that it's like, it's such a fragile environment. Like that could be disrupted just so quickly by somebody
any
being
second.
Like, yeah.
Wait, can I ask Ciara if you have that experience with Flagrant? Because Flagrant is such a nice community.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
To
is it like that?
We've only had to kick 2 people out of our Discord server.
That's
great
great numbers.
It's been going for like years at this point. We have hundreds of people in there. Not everyone's active, but we have like over 100 active users. And I think we've only ever had to like kick 2 people for being freaks.
And were they like come in to disrupt, or were they like in earnest fans, but then just something got messed up?
One person I think came in to disrupt because we also knew what their Twitter situation was, and it was, I don't even know if they were like consciously disrupting, but they were sending like insane stuff. And then another person they had a little too much going on in their personal life to be part of a community where you have access, because that Discord server goes almost 24/7. It is those bitches be talking, is what we like to say fondly. But yeah, it is, I really like it because everyone is nice, and at this point I've met so many of them in person, so it's a lot less like there's faces, or like been on Zoom calls with them, so there's like faces to names to faces. I went to a wedding, a Discord member got married over New Year's, and there was like 7 or 8 of us at the wedding from the Discord server.
That's amazing.
Awesome. It was so awesome.
That's the goal. That is the dream of the digital community.
So I think we've gotten really lucky. I think it's a product of one, I mean, with like Spinsters, there's all the Blue Wire money behind it, so it reached a larger audience. We also, I think, just like the way that Flagrant presents itself of being like all about basketball and community tends to attract, like it's people who are into women's basketball and college basketball and all that stuff. So we, I think we've gotten really lucky there.
Yeah.
It's also, and by definition, not, I mean this in a good way, scalable. It's not like the type of thing where you're like, now let's get 200,000 people in there.
And we don't want that.
Right.
Like,
exactly. Why would you? Yeah. But there's so much, like so much speculative market bullshit is.
Yeah. And it's nice because then, we post a podcast episode, and like a couple hours later or the next day, we have like direct feedback, or like people are talking about the episode in the podcast channel. And I don't know, I really like it. Yeah, we've lucked out somehow. We've really collected a bunch of sweets.
Well, I suspect that's a lot of your intention, right? Like if you're, there's some degree of intentionality behind that. The nothing but respect, the growing nothing but respect army is nothing but vile, evil people, but they are on our side. So it's nice, like we feel like we're all rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, but
If
they
you
are,
wanna
It's
be
a community for everybody.
They are, yes. It's a community of basketball domestic terrorists. But the next thing I want to talk about is I wanted to do a little combination of going down memory lane and talking about some spinster stuff that was behind the curtain, not like drama necessarily, but just like some funny episodes that didn't make it, some stuff that got killed, all that kind of stuff. Do you guys have any? I have a few kind of episodes that we wish had seen the light of day or almost saw the light of day. Do any come to mind?
Yeah. I have one specifically.
Please.
There was the one that I pitched about the importance of the number 69 in sports.
Oh,
Remember that one?
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that one. Wait.
It was going to be a narrative episode. I had 3 people in different sports who had worn the number 69 or had tried to and got shut down. And one of them was he like from New Zealand or Australia?
The rugby guy.
The rugby guy. And he was like, I'm so down to talk about this. Like, I love this number, blah, blah, blah. And then someone from his league caught wind of it and was like, we just can't have him doing this right now. He's about to get re-signed.
He got silenced by his agent
he got
or something.
God.
Yeah. So that one didn't happen, but I really wish it would have. I had a like sex. I'd interviewed the sex historian about where
69 came from, right?
Yeah. Too bad.
Was it
amazing?
Did Dennis Rodman wear 69 for one game? Is that what happened?
Yeah. And then and then also got shut down.
There
A lot of no one's sex positive in sports. Yeah.
No. Well, though we just actually, so which we'll get to. Haley, you're off Twitter, you're off this stuff. So you just learned about the great Donovan Mitchell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander meet-off that's been going on over this season. So. Jordan, you want to know about
Jordan,
it?
you don't know? One of the best. This is one of the only good things this NBA season is the Cavs and OKC going.
I have been so tuned out of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
All
this is
of
great.
It. So
I
I don't know what. Please give me the rundown.
Yeah. So there was a Skims ad that came out at the beginning of this year. One that featured Donovan Mitchell and one that featured Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and in the Donovan Mitchell Skims ad, his penis appears to be much bigger than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's, and much hay was made around the fact that they're pulling it up. Yeah, so if you look,
there's a glare.
Yeah,
we see no bulge.
Yeah, as you can see,
big bulge. Yeah,
got it. Okay, got it.
So
that aired on television, by the way.
Yeah,
we all had to see Donovan Mitchell's wiener.
Yeah.
Oh no!
But then it actually, in a very beautiful way, I think, much like the 69 episode that never was, corresponded with this sort of spiritual vibes of this season, which is that the Cavs have, outmeted a lot of teams.
Wow.
So
okay,
there's something really beautiful there. But I bring this up because maybe the NBA was ready for a 69 episode now. In a way that
it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to make the 69 episode, I would love to.
Dude, Haley,
Still
you
to
should
this
just
day.
come do it with Flagrant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
Ciara?
Yeah, we'll platform you.
I think there was one that I had pitched about regular people having the same name as NBA players.
I keep forgetting about all
this. Was so good.
And they were you're just like looking for a Kevin Durant on LinkedIn, and he's like an accountant in Wisconsin. Like, what is that? What is his life like?
Oh my
And
God.
I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial. It was airing towards the college season with Caitlin Clark. And they essentially did that idea. They had a regular Caitlin Clark trying to shoot threes, and then Caitlin Clark actually shooting threes. Like, she couldn't compare on the court, whatever it was. But I loved that idea. That would have been really fun to do.
That was a great idea.
Damn, I also totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
The two that come to mind for me the one that we killed, it didn't get killed. I think actually Haley, you killed it for good reason, but it still would be really funny in a kind of I want to watch the world burn way. Was the request we got from Michael Porter Jr.'s agent to come on Spinsters?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that would
we should have done that,
dude.
We should have given him a platform.
It would have been awesome. He's like you know, he has the Curious Mike podcast, which is like one of the stupidest podcasts I've ever seen. And if we could have kind of like imagine doing 35 with Michael Porter Jr. on like JFK.
Yeah, RFK, honestly.
Or all of them. Yeah, exactly.
All the
lost some brain
FKs.
cells.
Yeah. I saw Michael Porter Jr. at Zero Bond once, rocking an absolutely diabolical fit, looking like hella bad, clothing wise. But that was post interview. So yeah, that would have been a good one. And then the other one was the Cuban episode, the watching basketball in a weird places.
I have continued to pitch that one and think I have more of a chance than the 69 one.
Okay,
and
I won't.
I might have a bite.
Okay.
So
And I won't say any more about it. It's just has something to do with Cuba.
Yeah.
And my dad. The episode would have had something to do with Cuba and my dad. Ciara, do you have any? I know you weren't as close to the sort of editorial churn, so
I don't think so, because by the time I got in there, I think they were already like, we're gonna not be doing the
as many
scripted episodes as much, which was sad because I had a hot 8 months before.
Yeah, you
It
got
was
in
fun.
you were like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
You got in at the end.
Yeah, I came in and then they were like, okay, we're going to get rid of everybody else on the Spinsters team. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Except for me.
Yeah, that was
I
weird.
guess. So
What a time.
yeah, that was crazy. I do, every time I see George Niang and Max Struess on the court together, in my head I say, hello, boys.
Mhm.
We've been on a podcast together. I'm glad you guys are friends.
It is
That's
nice. All right, let me move over to the life after Spinsters portion of the podcast, which is to hear a little bit about where everybody has gone. I'm sure the Spinsters heads are curious, and it'll kind of double as talking about a little interview about where those respective fields have led you guys. Jordan, you are a superstar now. You're like a multimedia cross-platform icon,
Sort
which
of
I'm always
Beyonce.
like, that's awesome. You will
Situation.
pop up in like the craziest places. I was using the service that I use to pay my taxes as a small business owner.
Yes.
Hey, no free
I'm
ads.
on the homepage.
and I was like doing my fucking like W-2 taxes, and I was like, Jordan?
That's so sick.
It's like a black and white like image of Jordan, and
Dude,
I'm like, what
that's
the
dope.
fuck?
Use
So,
Collective. It's great.
You are everywhere. Give us the lowdown on everything, just sort of where you've gone post Spinsters, and then I have some WNBA questions for you.
Yeah. I feel like I have just gone off the deep end for women's basketball and WNBA. Just got back to my roots. I am doing a little bit of everything. Doing more podcasting and was doing Queens of the Court with Cheryl Swoops for a couple seasons there. Now it's going to be more of a women's hoop show all year round type of deal, not
Hell
just
yeah.
WNBA. So that's
Mhm.
going to be fun. Coming
You
soon.
should have pitched that at your old company.
Yeah, like who would have thought that women's basketball would be so great? Oh wait, me.
That would have been a good idea.
I said that.
I have the perfect name for it.
You have the perfect name for it? What is
Yeah.
it?
You could have called it the Ringer WNBA show.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm just kidding.
So close.
Obviously, I'm sure you guys all support Ciara, who does the show and does a great job. It's just
yes.
It's funny that it didn't happen.
Like 5 years later,
5
they
years.
were like,
Yeah.
"What about
5 years later with like
Have
2
you guys heard
weeks
of
left in the
League?"
season?
You heard of the
Women can do anything these
WNBA?
days.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right. Anyway, sorry.
No, yeah, doing that. About to start a live stream every other week with Bleacher Report. Doing some videos on the social medias.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to TikTok. I was just getting into TikTok. I'm like, I'm going all in, and then the ban happened.
Isn't it back? Is it
I
not
see your
back?
TikToks.
It's back. But I was just like, why? When I am dumping everything into this platform, is now it's gonna go away. But yeah, writing. I have a book coming out at the end of this year.
Yeah.
I wrote a book, co-authored.
It's done? You wrote a book?
I wrote it.
That's so fucking crazy.
Our deadline was like a couple weeks ago, and we just I'm co-authoring it with Emma Bachelari, who's a writer at Sports Illustrated, and it's on the history of women's basketball. And it is a coffee table book that's like photography first, with a bunch of different stories and essays from the 1800s to now on all these incredible women. And I'm actually really proud that I did that, and it came out of nowhere, and I got asked to do it, and I am so proud of it. Can't wait for you guys to see it. So that's like
beautiful.
my big update.
Is there because you're doing, because you were doing something with the Pac-12 as well, I saw.
Yeah. I
But
did
so-
Pac-12 tailgate, went to all 12 campuses, got to do that before the conference imploded.
Right.
Working with the WCC. I'm doing a bunch of different stuff, all
But so
basketball related.
I was gonna say, my question is, what do you see the through line as? Is it just kind of like elevating women's basketball?
Yeah, exactly. Any
Fair
way
enough.
that I can. Anyone that will put a camera in front of me or a microphone, or I can write something about it, that's really the center, for sure.
I wanted to ask, because one of the things that I have admired about your post-Spinsters career is that you are across medium. Like, you're like, it doesn't matter if it's a horizontal video, vertical video, it's a short interview, long interview, it's in a car, it's in a fucking whatever, it's a post game.
Just say no.
But in that I have now worked kind of behind the scenes enough to know that flexibility actually is an extremely rare skill. Like, most people, the experience is the exact opposite, where they're like, I want to do it this way and only this way, and if it's not this way, like, I'm not, fuck off. Why do you think is there a benefit you see from being kind of this flexibility in terms of like medium and setting? Like, have you noticed that about yourself, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think, I went to school for print journalism. Like, I wanted to be a print magazine editor. And once I realized that I can learn a new skill like podcasting, when Haley asked me to do Spinsters, I had just been a guest like one time on a podcast. I'd never done it before. And so once I realized, like, yeah, I can learn new things even at my big age, then I'm just going to keep that same energy. So if you need me to be a sideline reporter, no, I've never done it, but I'm going to do it. If you want me to host a show like I did the Jordan Brand thing, never done this before, but we're going to try. We're going to keep the same energy of knowing and having a passion for basketball. And that doesn't change no matter what medium. So yeah, just down to try new things. That's kind of my whole MO.
Jordan,
yeah.
are you on Do people do basketball on Blue Sky? They do?
Yeah.
There's like an NBA Blue Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's I'm in the WNBA and book Blue Sky. I actually don't know how I got into with other authors of like romance novels. I'm like, wait, I don't know how I'm here, but I like Blue Sky.
I like Blue Sky. Blue Sky.
I was also pronouncing it Blue Ski. I saw that Jasmine Watkins was like, is it not Blue Ski?
Blue Ski
I
sounds like
didn't
a
realize-
rapper.
I know, but it's Blue Sky. But yeah, I'm there.
Okay, now in the other funny thing about your career trajectory as it relates to the WNBA and Spinsters is Spinsters ended in October 2022, and the LSU versus Iowa semifinal game of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's junior year of college happened later that season, basically. And it which I see from following the sport, but not as super enmeshed in it as you. But I see that as like sort of the beginning of at least a new era of the way people talked about WNBA. Whether or not it was actually a new era for basketball, I think that's up for women's basketball. I mean, up for debate. But it seemed at least that the media narratives and the attention that the WNBA was getting from a national audience started to shift around that time. And there's all kinds of stuff that lots of people have covered some of the minutia around some of this stuff, but I have a few questions. My first question is, when that happened back in 2023, do you remember being like, a vibe is shifting, or was it just like, oh, this was a fun game?
Yeah, the vibe shifted pretty drastically.
Okay,
it was like, if you're in the car and you're just like, oh, we're going down a smooth road, someone took a sharp right turn that you had to grip on to the seat for. That's what that felt like. Now, women's basketball was leading these morning sports talk shows, but it was not about the basketball. And that's what really broke my heart. And I think if Spinsters was still going on, we could have done some really cool stuff just around the conversations that should have been centered around Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and just LSU as a whole team, Kim Mulkey. Like, it was so layered. And I think that's what was really different about the conversations, is because it was starting to get bigger and outside of basketball, but not taking into account the history and what has happened before this point. That's why I'm so passionate about this book of the history of women's basketball, because a lot of people started saying, well, Caitlin Clark is the only basketball player. What are we talking about? She's the only person that has ever played basketball in the history of the world. And you're like, her idol is Maya Moore. Like, there are so many other names and so many other basketball players, and there's so many other Black women basketball players that have been going through this exact same type of thing. But it was just catapulted into another dimension like overnight, and it wasn't fair. It just made you really think about your fandom and coverage in a different way. So the shift happened very quickly, and all of last WNBA season was a wild ride with Caitlin Clark being a rookie. So yeah, the conversations have definitely changed.
And you sound sort of understandably a little bit like, the sense I get from people who are in this covering it is they're exhausted by all of this, because it's just like, oh my God, this is like a circus. People, bad takes, people, almost like what we were talking about, the discourse, the Discord, where somebody will just come in and kind of lob a thing that's like now fucking everything up. And I do want to talk about that. But was there also, at the same time, was there this feeling of like, fuck yeah, the W is leading SportsCenter, or women's basketball is leading first. What are the main TV shows at this point?
All the ESPNs.
The
Stephen A.
Smith
was talking about women's basketball. We could just say that.
Yeah. People were talking about women's basketball in a different way. Was there like excitement around there, or was it mostly like, God damn it, these outsiders are coming in and sort of not understanding the history, whatever, being stupid, creating unnecessary discourse? Also, Ciara, I'm curious your point of view as well. But
first, I would love to hear your perspective, Ciara. I think it felt like a double-edged sword. It felt like about time, but this is what it has to come with at the beginning. It's okay. We'll get through it. But I did truly feel there were a lot of new, exciting fans that had very new and simplistic questions. They really wanted to know. They had this genuine curiosity of, who are the other people? You know, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan and I got excited about the WNBA because of her. I don't know anything. Who are her teammates? Like, where is Melissa Smith come from? Like, she's dating Dejanay Carrington? Wait, so it was like your gateway drug into the WNBA, and I'm okay with that. I think the nastiness that comes with it, you can leave that out. But there were a lot of genuinely curious fans that were excited about the WNBA and moving the stories and the excitement forward. There were also a lot of racists and homophobics and like really rude people, but it felt like that was a double-edged sword of, okay, we're going to get a bunch of new fans. We're going to get a lot of money. People are looking to invest because eyeballs are going up. So of course we want that for the players, for everyone in the media. My price tag went up because of all of that. So everything has a positive repercussion, but I think it was a lot of that nastiness that we had to go through at the beginning. I'm excited for next year because I think that will be better than last season. We were very exhausted at the end.
I'm hoping all the people who were quote unquote Caitlin Clark fans, but like weren't Caitlin Clark fans, they were just racists. I'm hoping they have like lost their steam, especially now that she hasn't been playing. She's been just golfing for the past however many months. That they're not coming back to this next season with the same kind of fervor. They're just like, okay, we're moving on to the next.
Yeah, a lot of them fell off when she liked Taylor Swift's Instagram post,
which is awesome. I was like, oh, that's all we had to do. Oh, yeah. Okay, sweet.
There's a interesting concept that I read about in this guy Kyle Chayka's book about that was called Eternal September, which was this idea in the early internet. All these internet chat forums were only owned and operated by people who had like college email addresses, right? And so like the forums, these chat rooms, what eventually would become Twitter, but these like chat room culture, they had this well-established culture. Everybody knew how to act. Everybody knew there were these sort of tacit rules that got set. But then every September, a whole new group of people would come because they were given email addresses with like, UMish or .Louisville or whatever. And they would mess up all the rules because they didn't know any better. They're coming in, they're 19, they're like chat rooming for the first time. And the unguarding of the internet and the sort of gating, like the lack of gatekeeping that happened in this sort of second wave of internet created something called Eternal September effect, which was that there is a constant flow of people who don't understand the rules and don't understand the whatever. And I saw some of that happening with the W, where it was like there was this self-selecting group of passionate, generally kind, generally understanding of the generally gay, exactly, group of people, and then the wall came down, and that can, whatever. If the W goes the same way of the internet, that could be good because the internet's very big, but could be bad because the internet's very evil. So
yeah. I think that's fascinating. The most disappointing part about it was sometimes it felt like the league was a part of the problem.
And say more about that. That's
what was really
100%.
Disappointing. Because when you say that and you say, there are new people that don't know the rules, and sometimes you don't fault them for that because you're trying to teach them. And it was a lot of hand-holding last season of like, no, this is what we do, or this is who did it first and all that. But when you have the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, go on a show and say, racism, schmacism, this is like Magic and Bird. This is a rivalry, and we are profiting off this rivalry. And you're like, what? How are you saying that this is working in your benefit, that people are extending death threats to Angel Reese? So there's some times where it was very much the outside, but then there were other parts where it felt like the league was a part of it. Even the charter flights scenario, players have been begging for charter flights. How many in our narrative episodes talking about CBAs did we talk about charter flights and how that was not a thing? And then all of a sudden, when Caitlin Clark gets in here, the league is like, oh, you're not going to have to flag commercial. Everybody else can, but okay, we'll hurry up and do these charter flights just to make sure that it doesn't look too super bad. So sometimes it was like, all right, what's really going on here? So yeah, it was a lot of outside people, media not knowing how to talk about the league, but then also the league not feeling, it felt like they weren't prepared for this moment at all.
It's been double crazy to watch Unrivaled just school the WNBA in like every facet of promotion and content creation, the way the court's set up, like everything, signing with TNT their very first year and surpassing their revenue goals. And I'm just like, I hope the WNBA is watching that. You guys know it's all the exact same players, right?
Wait, I know about Unrivaled, and I've been seeing some stuff, but I don't know about what's different. What is this sort of shift that you're talking about in the way they're positioning their players?
Just everything feels so legit, and they were like, we're gonna treat our players like stars. Like the players show up for media day, everybody's getting makeovers from Sephora, all their locker rooms are dialed in, everything is just like they have practice space and workout rooms and trainers, which is like shit that the WNBA doesn't even have.
Right.
They've got Coco Gauff investing, like everyone from like Coco Gauff to like Joe Ingles invests. It's just like every game's on TNT. Yeah, Joe Ingles, shout out.
Steve too.
It's all on TNT or True TV. They've got pregame, they have postgame. This WNBA still doesn't have postgame half the time.
Wow.
It's just like they were like, oh, we're gonna treat this like a professional sports league, and so everyone's like, oh, cool, professional sports league. Whereas like the WNBA, how many teams still don't have a dedicated practice space?
And they're getting paid. They're getting paid like professionals. Yeah.
What is the like average salary? Is that public?
So they're getting $220,000 for what is it, 3 months?
Yeah.
Really? January to March. So they're getting that, but then they also own part equity in the league. So they have everything is sponsored. You know, this replay is presented by Ford. The building is a Wayfair court. Yeah, like everything is sponsored.
No commercial quarter brought to you by whoever the hell. Like every team has their own sponsor. Sephora is a big sponsor. Like it's so crazy.
That's it. Do you think it's because it's like player founded, player run?
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess that sounds kind of obvious, but also everyone is trying to capitalize off what we're talking about right now, like the fact that people just discovered the women's basketball exists, and it's nice that the players are the actual ones who are able to capitalize off of it. That is like extremely normal amount of money for 3 months for famous basketball players.
Yes. Right. And you get to stay home. And it's still, I think the worst part, they're still taking a pay cut for probably what they were going to get overseas, but you get the positive of not having to be overseas. Yeah. And you get to be home. But and then there's a one-on-one tournament halfway through the season where the winner gets $250,000 right there. So
that
they double
so sick.
Their salary right there. I can't wait for that. That's cool.
Everything from the highest level branding. Like their social media, they have at least one social person for every team, and then also like a whole social team just for Unrivaled. And you can tell like the content is just flowing. Their media day was crazy. Like they're paying people too. Somebody sent me like the job posting for the social media manager, but they have like all the way from like probably, social leads all the way through like people whose job it is just to like make TikToks all day. And it works because it's just their numbers that they get on their Instagram reels are crazy. And Instagram reels suck.
Hey, no, come on.
Hey, whoa.
First of all, that's where I get all my news about culture.
Sorry.
It's interesting. It's funny to be sitting around being like praising just like a venture venture-backed sort of like amalgamation of brands and sort of money. But it's all good. It's all, Jordan's camera's freaking out.
Yeah, I just got it. Sorry, it turned into AI. It was following me around. Sorry.
So on the one hand, there's like, oh, why do we care about just this other money-making institution? But there is, I think, a certain I see this in media too, where like when these institutions are so slow to act and so behind that when they do get kind of like beaten by somebody who's going to be innovative and be new, even if it's like innovative in this sort of like brandy kind of like just pumping money in efficiency kind of thing, there is an element of like, see, this is like what fucking happens. This is what happens when you don't pay your employees. Yeah. This is what happens. Like you want to live and die by the free market. Well, the free market is gonna fucking kill you because you're a bad, like a poorly run thing. And so I have a weird sort of like, I like lick my lips and get excited when I do hear about these sort of like slow to act brands, in media, like if it's whatever, Condé Nast or, I won't name any other ones unless they want to pay me one day. But there is a degree of like, see, like that's why you fucking pay your fact checker $100,000 because somebody else will. It might not have been that year, but it'll be the next year, and then you won't have a whatever. So, anyway, that's cool. I have one last WNBA topic, and then I want to talk about Haley's love life. No, I'm just kidding. I do want to talk about Haley, but maybe not her love life. It starts with a spicy take. The defining star of the 2020s for the W is not yet in the W. Whoa. It is future San Francisco Valkyries zero guard Juju Watkins.
Whoa,
Juju Watkins, you are a Valkyrie.
No.
I have a two-part question. One, how do we get Juju Watkins on the Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Two, it's just a statement. She is incredible. She is so fucking lit. Like, she is so good. I do kind of, and I'm a bit of a Paige Becker's hater. Like, if you're looking at the sort of, sorry, I just got a lot of spice. Hey, you guys told me
some pent up WNBA spice. I love it.
Something that both of you said a long time ago that I think about a lot is like the W will have really made it when people start, like critiquing and shitting on their stars, which I think is very true.
Yes.
Paige Becker's gotta take over games more. Juju, on the other hand,
okay,
she's a superstar.
That's all she does.
She's
so filthy.
Got the swag.
She has crazy swag
as fuck.
So how do we get her on the Valkyrie is my question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Same question for me.
I'm going to counter that and say that the LA Sparks are going to do some illegal shit to keep her in LA. And I fully support that. Actually,
never mind.
Fully support that. I kind of don't like the trade for Kelsey Plum. We don't even have to get into that because that makes them too good to tank for Juju in a few years.
Wow.
Like, we have to think long term. And Juju just comes to Sparks games and she just sits in the front row as a college student now, and the whole arena erupts. She is a star and she has to stay in LA. If she stays in Cali, I mean, that's good, but most likely she's probably going to go to the last, like, Toronto or one of those are going to be the expansion teams are the worst teams the next year, so that's where she's probably going to go. But she has to be an LA Spark. She has to stay in LA.
And for somebody who maybe isn't tapped into women's college sports right now, or women's college basketball, can you talk a little bit about why what is making Juju like so special? I have my quick take is that her like physicality and size when you watch her play is like, it reminds me of like Tracy McGrady, kind of like just of somebody who see them on the court and they're like, that's the best player. Like they just have her physicality is so crazy that it's like leaps out of the screen. But I'm curious if you, Ciara, Haley, if you have any kind of other things about what make her so exciting.
To me, it's her pace. She's able to control the pace of the entire game, and no one can speed her up. No one can slow her down. She is going to get to her spot no matter what. And especially in women's basketball, if you have a mid-range jumper, you are automatically so much better than everybody else, and no one can stop her from getting to that free throw line extended. And if they do, then she can use her physicality to finish at the rim. And then if you don't stop her over half court, then she's going to pull from three. She can score from anywhere. And at 6'2", I think she's 6'2", 6'1", she's the perfect height. But yeah, she makes defenders look like cones. She can score anywhere. And yeah, I just love watching her. It's poetic.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Haley.
Carrie.
Hey, Haley. I'm trying to figure out where to begin because you and I's journey intersect far more.
We're hanging out all the time.
Yeah, we were. Haley was at my. It's actually kind of a crazy small world thing. Like my. I didn't think I told you this, but it's worth saying on air. It's like how I applied to Spinsters is Eli, my friend Eli, who like read your stuff at the Ringer, DM'd me your tweet being like, I'm looking for a podcast producer. And then I applied. And then yesterday you were eating smoked brisket at his house.
Yeah, it was really good.
Just crazy.
The wings were really good too. Yeah. He gave me this sick soccer jersey too.
Yeah.
I almost wore it today for this. Yeah.
So it is just sort of like a crazy kind of like happening. But because the audience doesn't know all of our lore, I'll save some of that. But I do want to, I was talking to you about this yesterday. Like, I personally think it's really cool that you have, well, let me even back up, which is like, you pretty much left like public facing sports journalism after Spinsters. I think if you didn't immediately after, you very quickly after got off Twitter, which you had a big Twitter platform, you got off, a lot of that stuff. I think, I suspect a good chunk of that was burnout, but just sort of like, you had been going since you were like 22. But let's talk about that first. Like, what was that immediate post Spinsters? Where was your relationship to sports media at? And like, what prompted the kind of going Zero Dark Haley?
Zero Dark Haley is so good. Jordan, you and I talked like when Spinsters was ending or when we knew it was going to end, and we talked about our next stuff. You were like, I really want to lean into the W. And I thought that made so much sense, and you're doing it. And I said, I think I want to get off of everything and go away. and I'm really doing it. So I'm living the dream. It was a couple things. You become like very aware all of a sudden of the fact that you're never really not, I don't know how to say it, like not being watched, but it just felt like everything that I did was of too much consequence because we were getting into this era where Twitter was just like starting to be very mad at each other about everything. And it didn't feel like it was ever going to turn around. Nothing felt fun anymore. The podcast was fun, but then the politics behind the scenes were not fun. I moved home. I leaned into other things, and I had this kind of crisis where I was like, is this going to be the only thing I ever do? Is it going to be my whole life? Like the rest of my life is just going to be this? And it freaked me out. So yeah, I just thought time for something different. This being
kind of like sports media stuff.
Yeah, sports media. Yeah, exactly. NBA specifically, but also sports media. And afterwards I did think about, there were like a couple ideas I had, but ultimately I just haven't seriously pursued any of them because the longer I wasn't in it, the better I liked my life.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I remember when it first ended and when some people would be like, what's Haley doing? And I was like, Haley was a public figure starting from the time that she was 22 to whenever we stopped. Like, I think that she probably just needed a break from that, you know, like that, which I honestly can't fathom that, like, especially in the arena of like, it's again, it kind of goes back to this Discord thing where like you had an online following, which I suspect had a lot of good qualities and interactivity and all that stuff.
A lot of free shit.
Which I appreciate, yeah. A lot of YouTube TV passwords, all that stuff. But it also I just can't imagine like the just the onslaught of like, you know, engagement, good or bad. It's just like nobody should.
Yeah, I think this is going to sound like self-important because I do realize that being an NBA writer is a very esoteric thing. And there are a lot of people on the internet who have in different categories who have a lot more notoriety and even like sports media specifically. But do you remember earlier when you were like, do you know anybody who like comments mean things on people's stuff? I think the freaky thing for me was like, I didn't, but I knew that they were out there. So how did you know if you were interacting with somebody who just said a crazy thing to you or like someone like you? And I didn't like seeing the sheer amount of those things, like not even just to me, but to other people, because it made me start to think like I'm not assuming the best about people anymore. And I didn't want to see like the numbers of people who thought that it was good that Deshaun Watson got the biggest contract ever, like for a quarterback in NFL history. I just didn't want to see that anymore. I didn't want to like I have to accept that those people were all around, like, and probably in the sports bar I was at. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like it bled actually into real life, where it was like entering your thoughts of just like how you move through the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think especially then I was like notoriously very private, so it felt very like a lot of exposure. And I was kind of like, what is this all about? Like, what am I doing this for?
Right. Is this even serving you? Yeah.
I got a delivery. Could you guys hear that?
I did hear it, but
yeah.
Do you need to go get it?
No, they'll leave it outside, and it's kind of up to God if I.
Yeah, you should probably go get it if you want.
No, it's okay.
I know that
social
game.
contract, right, Harry?
That's exactly right. Okay, so let me. I do want to talk one more thing on your side, which is what you did move into privately, but because we hang out and you sometimes kiss my roommate, I know about this kind of thing. Is tenant rights organizing in Louisville, which I think I have always thought is a very kind of like editorially rich. I mean, it's cool. Like as my friend, it's cool that you do that, but it's also just an interesting move to go from. I'm curious about like you were very involved in the Ringer union stuff. And then you have had this second act around like labor or sort of organizing, collective action organizing. Do you see those things as a through line of like what you got excited about that stuff in your Ringer time and then brought that over to the tenants union? What kind of, how did you get involved in that? And also just like what are you doing in the Ringer? I'm sorry, in the Louisville tenants union universe.
In the Ringer tenants union. I think I only see the through line. Yeah, actually I know there's definitely one, because I don't think I was extremely involved in the Ringer union. I think it was more like I was very supportive, but I wasn't on the bargaining committee. But I did see like the people who were and who were so out loud about it. And I just thought that's actually how we should be. It wasn't like I was ever not in support of unions or even neutral, but I just didn't have any familiarity with them. And after I saw that and I kind of saw how management responded, that was like very, very, man, this delivery guy's like not going away.
Yeah. Okay, you want to go get it? And then
Go for it.
It's okay. No, that's okay. He'll ring one of my neighbors. What was I saying?
Seeing how management responded.
Management, yeah, it was so shitty. It was so shitty. We talk about this all the time. Like I've said this story to everyone, probably on podcasts, but they literally threatened to take away our healthcare the first month of the pandemic. It was insane. And so after that, I kind of started to read and consume a lot of like stuff about the history of unions. And by the time I'd moved back, I was looking for one, sort of. Like, I just was very interested in them, and I wanted to like almost be around one more. And then I ran into the Louisville Tenants Union, actually, because my now friend and mentor, Josh Poe, who's a big basketball fan, like we sat down and talked about it. And actually the first thing we talked about was how housing is kind of at the center of everything. And around that time, it was like a year after Breonna Taylor got murdered. And I had not made the connection. I think a lot of the general public has not made the connection between gentrification and police violence. Because in cities like Louisville, like exactly Louisville, right, which use the same development company, like consultation company as Cincinnati, part of their strategy, the mayor brings in this company and is like, I want to have a lot of development in Louisville. And part of their strategy to gentrify is to put in increased police presence in neighborhoods that they want to gentrify. Right. And so that was where Breonna Taylor lived. So there was this huge increase. I mean, if you're not going to price them out, like this is another strategy on top of that. So making that connection was really eye-opening for me. But then also it is like, I'm not trying to use this word to sound like academic or anything, but it's, I think, the biggest bridge to class consciousness. And just to back up, now I'm an organizer with the Louisville Tenants Union. If you're unfamiliar with the Tenants Union, it's just like a labor union, except you're not bargaining for a collective agreement on a work contract. You're doing it for your rent, for your rental lease. And we do contracts for everything else. There's no reason we shouldn't do it for where we live, especially because it is something that we need as a human right, is to live somewhere. And for the person that we're signing this contract for, it is literally a way to make money, a way to stockpile money, right? So it's like, it's a contradiction, that relationship. So what was I talking about? The class consciousness thing. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I know I'm rambling. Like, I know. I think your roommate has to deal with this 24/7. But yeah, so I also realized like this is probably the biggest connection to get. I mean, the biggest word of the last 7 years longer is divide in this country. This is one way where for the lower class, for the middle class, I mean, now even above, the one thing that you cannot say that we all have in common is that every fucking month on the 1st we have to pay the rent. And the second thing you can't say that we don't have in common is that it's getting harder and harder and harder to pay our fucking rent. So this is actually something where I have seen it firsthand. You don't have to like each other. You don't have to agree on things. In fact, most of the time you don't. This is kind of the way that a lot of unions go. But you do need to work together because there is people power and there's money power, and we are never going to have more money than these people. So we have to realize how many more of us than them there are. So yeah, I just kind of became but also the last thing I'll say is that housing is the key, it is the absolutely essential foundation to having any kind of a happy life. A successful life, the opportunity to thrive. You don't have that if you don't have housing. And that doesn't just mean people being unhoused, which we see on the street all the time in increasingly disconcertingly mass numbers. It also means the person who in high school had to sleep on their friends' couches. That is also houselessness, and that's also increasing. And how are they supposed to thrive? How are they supposed to do well in school?
Yeah. And so what is some of that look? I agree. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, well, what does some of that look like on a day-to-day? Obviously, I'm sure it changes, but what is two questions. One is that, and then two, I am more curious about that process of taking that first step, because that's a big, in my. And I obviously we all probably, well, maybe not you, but I should be better about the kind of community engagement that I do or don't do. But the first step is always the hardest. So I'm curious about the what the first step looked like, and kind of a little bit more of this mentor relationship, and B, the what that actually looks like as a job is interesting to me, or as a, not a job, but as a well, I guess a job, but not, you get what I'm saying. You're not
totally
salaried.
Tenant. Well, ain't no salary.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I met with Josh. We talked about
Josh Poe. This is
Josh Poe. Yeah. We talked about Breonna Taylor a lot. We talked about the history of Louisville. We talked about the history of Cincinnati, the connections we could make everywhere, why Louisville is specifically at risk of mass houselessness, especially for Black people, because Louisville is unique in that we have one pocket where people are segregated to, and people are literally actively getting pushed out of that pocket. So it is
that because of kind of like a housing zoning
gentrification and the city's willingness to destroy buildings that are public housing and replace them with marketplace housing under the guise of doing something good for the community while removing all of the people.
For Louisville as a whole, because there'll be a Sweet Green or whatever the fuck.
There'll be Sweet Green, yeah, except the people who live there will never get to enjoy the Sweet Green. They will never get to have the Kale Caesar. Yes, so I met with Josh. We were talking about all of that, and then he said, you should come to a tenants meeting. And I went, and I've never seen such fucking serious people. And I think just having been involved in maybe nonprofits from a distance and in college and sort of on the side, I never realized that there was this sort of action-based organization that we're not a nonprofit. We don't have boards that we answer to. We don't have, we're not teaching Marxist texts to people. We are literally going into buildings and where people are saying our landlord is fucking us over so bad. My kids have rings under their eyes because of black mold. I'm stepping in sewage for weeks. There are venomous spider infestations. They've taken out the wheelchair ramps for an elderly building. We go into those buildings and we assist them in understanding how to organize a building, how to plan actions against a landlord, how to research against a landlord. And a lot of it is support if you're not a member who's actively organizing their building. But anyway, Josh actually took me out to Bowling Green, which is in Kentucky. And we were in this mobile home park, and he was doing this power analysis teaching. And it was basically again, it's not a lecture or anything like that. It's basically if you're going to have a landlord with your meeting, if you're going to have a meeting with your landlord, this is the shit you need to do. These are the roles you need to play. This is how you need to get organized. This is the way to freak them out. And it was just people doing literal things. It wasn't somebody talking about how 10 years down the line, this is really going to help people. It was actually helping people. Right, yeah. And I learned so much about how bad everything is. I'll give you a very quick example, then I promise I'll shut up.
No.
That mobile home park, I was talking to someone who lived there, and she said she had left a really violent situation with an ex-husband, and she bought her mobile home at a discount from her old boss, but she was going to be paying it off for the next 15 years. However, that property had just got bought by a developer who was going to, who told them they all had to get out, and he was going to build a huge apartment building there. And she was like, I can't move this mobile home because it costs $15,000, and most models you can't even move anyway because they won't accept them into new mobile home parks. So she was going to be paying this thing off for 15 years that she would not be allowed to live in anymore. Right. So you learn about all that stuff, and it's not that we don't have grander goals. It's not that we actually just co-founded a tenants union federation with a couple other tenants unions around the country. So it's not like we're not trying to do things on a bigger scale, but we are people who have decided to address something very urgently. And we also are rank and file led. So I'm not voting on what these people in these buildings are doing. They're voting on what's most important for them because they know better than me in that respect. So
maybe going just sort of diving into something, I think is a very that there's something very admirable about the humility required to be like, I'm at the top of this other field, but I don't know anything about this other thing that I'm more interested in right now. Like, let me just go be humble and sort of try to get in where I can. And I think that's a very I get very caught up in my own sort of ambition about being the best of something, and I think it's a very refreshing to hear your sort of other approach to being like getting to the top of something and then finding something else that you want to dive into that's more important.
It's a lot more forgiving to fuck up in something like this. It's not very forgiving to fuck up in art or in media, but in something like this, it's like, well, we still need you. So you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna kick you out if you do something really fucked up. But like, you know, if you mess something up with you told somebody the wrong thing or like you weren't there on time, okay, we literally still need as many people as we can get.
That makes sense. Jordan, I know you got to bounce in a sec, but do you have any final, either to what Haley just said or I should say, and final where the people can find you?
Yeah, I actually checked my schedule. It's moved to tomorrow.
Oh, amazing.
So
all right, we can keep going.
We're
for a few more minutes, yeah.
But I admire you so much, Haley, because you've always have rallied behind people, and I love that this is still so connected with hearing people's stories, and that's what you have been about, is wanting to get the story out of people, but also making sure you're sharing it and it's on a big platform. I love what you said about the action items, because it's like, yeah, we're not just blowing smoke. We're saying, hey, do this now, and you can learn something actually right now. So you're the bomb. You're amazing. I love you.
I love you.
And that's so cool. I feel like I learned so much even just from your spiel right now. That's so cool.
That's why Spinsters was the greatest podcast of all time. Now, I want to end on obviously the.
Wait, we got to hear what's new with Ciara.
No, that's what I am. I'm ending on the
me jumping down your throat just like old times.
Well, look at this transition. I wanted to end on what I am most proud of about Spinsters, which was our absolutely fire Twitter.
Heck yeah.
Which was run in many often by Ciara. But
R.I.P. in peace, bro.
Yeah, seriously. We'll see. I might.
Don't we still own it?
That's the thing.
I just tried to log in. I still have the Instagram. I just hit to log in and it was like, we can't log you in. So I think somebody got in there and got rid of it. But I
may text.
I did get in trouble for posting. So
yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, Ciara, give us a quick. I have some questions about sort of the changing universe of basketball, social media, and stuff. But because you are in the trenches of that universe. But what's been going on? What's your post Spinsters life looking like?
Yeah, immediately after Spinsters ended, I started working for this company called Gaming Society that was like in the sports betting world. It wasn't like a DraftKings. We were doing like sports betting content. So I was working with a lot of like, you know, like a Matt Allen Tuck situation, a real homie. And that was all cool until they stopped paying us all of a sudden with like almost no warning. And then the company shut down and they still owe me monkey.
Really? They do?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they owe me, every employee and every contract. They owe Katie Heindel a bunch of money.
Dog.
Yeah, I'm never going to see it.
Gaming Society. The fucking nothing but respect army's going to show up to your house and allegedly shoot you in the face with a 3D printed gun.
Allegedly.
I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
No,
That's
it was
That's
crazy.
so fucking lame.
It was really lame. And then, that was really bad. That was 2023. And then, but now I work for Vivid Seats, the ticket marketplace. I do social media for them full time. So that's swag. But yeah, I'm still doing social. I think I'm maybe having my Haley moment where I'm kind of like, whoa, is this, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because working in social media, way worse than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about that, and because you have worked in it, but you've also sort of made a kind of, it was a avenue to your career. And a funny thing I was thinking about is like you some Ciara lore is that you had a career break of sorts via a Reddit post.
Yeah.
Which
was, I always say everything good in my life came from Haley tweeting about my Reddit post.
And what
it was really funny.
What was the post again?
It was ranking the hottest NBA player on every team, and it was like a Google Slides presentation that I uploaded, and it was like it did well on Reddit, like the NBA subreddit. And then one day I got a DM that was like, "Hey, I don't know if you saw this, but Haley O'Shaughnessy's tweeting about your slideshow." So, and then after that, that's how I connect. That's when Ashton from Flagrant followed me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
Ashton,
how.
also someone I hang out with 24/7 now.
I love Ashton. I know.
Dang. That's a cool
I know.
group.
So yeah, I
Lived in
did.
New York.
It's crazy. I actually just deleted my Twitter account, like fully. So and
Wow.
that was like the start. That was like where like I don't
wondering
have
where
any
those
of my
likes were
social
going.
media jobs or any of my shit if I don't have that Twitter account.
Isn't it kind of crazy? It felt like when Spinsters was happening, it seemed like that was the golden age of Twitter, even though we didn't realize it when we were in it. But how it is now, it is
Worthless.
horrible.
It's a worthless website.
And it's like, gosh, we didn't even know we were in the good times, but there was still a lot of bad
It was
going
also
on.
bad,
but
right?
it's,
No, but
it
I
was
agree
also
with you. It
wow.
And what I wanted to say about this Reddit, just to kind of finish this thread, is there is this thing where you were in this early moment of hey, I think about basketball outside of the kind of like what the regular X's and O's, the sort of like generally male, generally analytic, hyper-focused avenue of which to view basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have or that post is an example of the tremendous appetite at the time for stuff that was not that, something that was like a refreshing take that sort of built on the world of basketball and the shared fandom of basketball, but was not about like, is Monte Ellis a good volume shooter or whatever.
Yes.
The shift that we do kind of chronicle on Nothing But Respect, and it's interesting, is like that ancillary style content is now all there is.
Yeah.
Like it's become the like an example I bring up of like such a depressing kind of like thing is the popularization of the sort of blind ranking modality, like the we are going to blind rank 5 whatever, because it's a completely ungrounded mechanism. The blind ranking is designed to be wrong on purpose. The virality of it is and the sort of like way that it is confusing is a feature, not a bug. Like, it's like, how do we say something stupid to reverse engineer a viral moment rather than a more organic thing? And so I get, I guess this is a long way of saying, I get why you're in a position where it's like, God, the ground is shifting under me. What used to be about like fun new ways to talk about basketball is now about like slopifying like
it is
already existing platforms. Yeah,
dude. We have the previous we're restructuring the Flagrant podcast right now, but the previous iteration was Help Side, which you were all guests on, where we were like giving advice based on fake letters, and we had to establish a whole like segment of the podcast called the Discourse Tracker, because we got in this like couple weeks stint where we realized like our advice was always just like, shut up and stop fucking talking about it. So we had to have the Discourse Tracker, which is like, hey, this is the discourse that's going on, we're banning the discourse. Because like every piece of advice we were giving was just like, have you considered shutting up for 1 second? It's just everybody. I think it's like people want to be doing this like cool alternative, like statisticless take kind of content, but it's like, do you have something interesting to say? And like, I don't necessarily always have something interesting to say. Like, I'm not pumping out content, but I'm like, if you don't have something interesting to say, why, like, what is it all about then? You can just do stats. That's fine also, you know?
No, I totally. I think that the shift, there is a shift in probably media in general, but certainly in basketball media, from your curatorial sense was based on what conversations you would have, and I think that now it is about what conversations you decide not to have. Like that there's like the to have the eye to be like, okay, I'm just not going to talk about Jokic and Embiid being MVP this year.
Yeah,
I just
like,
don't.
who cares?
Nobody cares, and so I'm going to like sit out of that one. Is a more valuable skill than having a interesting take about the Jokic Embiid MVP.
Because is there anything interesting?
Right, no. Because it's been mined by like AI slop and like 6 million content creators and like 14-year-olds in elite socks like doing backflips. Like the ground has been mined.
That's
the Earth
the real
is scorched.
content.
You know, like
yeah. I was talking about this recently with another group, but I just like the ability of anybody to have a platform is like good because it's, you know, and you can discover so many people, but then it's just like everybody has a platform and people are like, oh, well, if you have a lot of followers, that makes you a voice of authority. And it's like,
yeah,
well, no, you just have a lot of followers. That doesn't mean, and I think the non-basketball example I think about is the guy Keith Lee who does like food reviews. I really like his content. But I like saw somebody doing like making discourse about it where they were like, I don't know, I think Keith Lee really needs to like he doesn't have a very expansive palate. Like he needs to be incorporating all these stuff. He likes the food he likes. I'm like, well, yeah, he's a dude sitting in his car reviewing restaurants. He was never meant to like, he's not writing a food column for the New York Times. Of course, he has a limited palate. He's a man sitting in his car eating food, and then he got like 1 billion followers and people are expecting him to be like a voice. I don't know. I like him. That's not like a knock on him, but people don't, there's no way to like, it's like when Twitter started letting you buy a blue check, there's no verification system anymore. It's just like whoever
when
can.
I was about to fucking get one, I could smell it.
Dude, you were.
They
told
so
me.
Close.
They texted me.
Close. And then it's like, God damn it.
I was texting with Elon, and he was like, I think we're gonna just like pull the trigger on this. And I was like, cool.
I get it. He's like, yeah. Ladies, it was an absolute pleasure. Is there any final? Do you guys have any final Spinsters thoughts?
I wish we did more W. Harry, I want to hear like your peak and valley.
Ooh, my peak and valley. I think the thing that I was most frustrated by was the shirts. The not being able to get those shirts out.
Oh,
the merch.
Hold on, let me fucking look this.
God, those were so beautiful.
They're really great. I still have mine. I need to wear it more actually. Makes me feel something.
I have the tote. People always ask me about the tote.
I'm like pausing because I want to look this guy up. But we had an artist,
Tristan.
I'll put his Instagram in the show notes. It's really awesome artist. We hit him up. It was exactly like what I wanted to be doing in a creative production role, like finding interesting art, like making new stuff. We like commissioned these pieces. It was like it was so awesome. And then because of a million different reasons, which is like not worth getting into, we had to kill the
That's one or two reasons. Because of one or two people, I'd say.
It never saw the light of day, and that was probably like realizing that we had to kill the shirts was probably my most frustrated, because I was like, I probably put like 100+ hours into sort of and of the like boring stuff of just like emailing people and invoicing and Photoshop and whatever just to get those over the finish line. So that was probably the bottom, the valley. The few peaks. I mean, I have a similar Ciara of like that job put my career into a different stratosphere. So like there's that element of just like gratitude, Haley, to you and Jordan as well, like of putting me in that position, which like changed the trajectory of my career for sure.
It would have been miserable without you. It would have been miserable. Yeah, just to be
I can't
clear.
even remember before. Like,
yeah,
I don't even want to. You made it. You made it what it was.
No, and I mean it was really fun. Like it was like the trying something really. It has set up a kind of the way I think about stuff in my production work of like, let's try to make something really ambitious and like, you know, because what's the point of doing anything else, basically? Anyway, outside of the highfalutin stuff, the piece that I think about the most weirdly is, well, there's two actually. One is the downtown girls basketball. Just because I like go to that park all the time, and I'm like, that's crazy that there's just like a whole ass thing there. And then the other one was the hair episode, because I just like, as more NBA players continue to have funny hair that and then have funny like periods of play around it. Like I think I even texted you about this with the D'Angelo Russell hair this year, which was like really something else.
Too much blonde was going to his brain.
Yes, it really was. It was like bleaching his brain. That was just a fun episode. Like I just always think about the anytime I see somebody with a new haircut, I'm like, I wonder what their shooting splits are with
just like on the street,
box braids or whatever.
Like you're walking by a stranger and you're like,
well, and I think about it now covering the W, how impossible it would be to do this for the WNBA. I thought about it for Aaliyah Boston because she changes her braids to very drastic colors. But I ended up writing something that was more about what moments her hair ties her to. So like when they won the championship, her braids were at South Carolina, they were like the Gamecock red. And then when she won gold medal with FIBA, she had gold braids. But it's really hard to think about that for the WNBA. So I'm grateful for the NBA for providing more stats with hair.
Consistent. The last thing I'll say actually on the hair thing, which is years ago when we were first brainstorming this conversation, we were talking about Jonathan Kuminga, who it was his rookie year, and you were like, "Oh yeah, he's got the fuckboy braids," and I was like, "What is that?" And you were like, "He's got the fuckboy braids. Like those are braids that you know, if you have this hairstyle, like you're a fuckboy." And I have continued to have an extremely frustrating relationship with Jonathan Kuminga, and I find myself thinking like, it's the fucking fuckboy braids. Like all the time, like I should have known like that he wasn't gonna figure out Steve Kerr's offense as fluidly as I want him to. He's got the fucking fuckboy braids.
No, dude, he's coming back from this injury. He's gonna average 30 points. I'm so serious.
I mean, when he had the bleach hair, I thought he looked awesome. Sartorially, I have nothing but respect for Jonathan Kuminga. Okay.
The titular, nothing but respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you subscribe, follow all of these folks wherever you want. Their reputation precedes them. Their socials will be in the show notes and on Substack. Thank you, Haley, Jordan, and Ciara, and everybody who had a role in Spinsters. Thank you. Peter, Isabel, Misha, Alex, who else? Are there anyone else I'm forgetting?
Did you say Isabel?
I said Isabel.
I love Isabel.
Yeah, same.
Those if you're listening.
Mary.
Mary.
We're now married.
Beautiful.
Oh,
you got to. If you're gonna podcast, they would take meetings back to back.
I know. It was so
You're gonna do that,
cool.
like you're getting married. Yes, Mary has a great podcast about national parks. Anyway, thank you all for letting Spinsters happen. Obviously, this was very important to us. I think it was important to other people. People still bring it up to me. So they bring it up to Ciara on her Hinge. It's like
crazy.
That's all over the place. And go stream Flowers File by Avery Friedman. A lovely ethereal folk song.
Beautiful, gorgeous.
Beautiful, gorgeous folk.
Talented woman.
Yes, beautiful, gorgeous, talented woman. All right. Thank you, everybody.